Good day, good people. Welcome to another purpose-filled episode of Lessons for the Journey. The purpose of this podcast is to share insights, information on women's wellness, understanding our whys, and the lessons that inspire us to take positive actions in ourselves, our families, and our communities. The focus of this show includes women's wellness, seeing through a metaphysical lens, sharing spiritual insights, highlighting the journey lessons, and building healthy relationships. I am your host, Dr. Hetheru, and I share this space with engaging co-hosts, guests, inspiring topics every Friday at 12 noon for a transformative 1-hour experience here on Podcastic Live, Facebook, and YouTube. You can expect deep, thought-provoking conversations on self-discovery and personal growth, special guests, locations, events, people, polls, and thoughts, co-hosts sharing wisdom and life-changing insights, a powerful blend of spiritual, metaphysical, and wellness lessons, tools and strategies to help you elevate your mind, your body, and your spirit. Our show is produced by Chantel Mosley of Podcastic Studios. Our co-hosts include Ma'at Sabah, Mary E. Bayou, Nicole S. Miller, and special appearances by Dr. Calvin T. Mann. If you are seeking clarity, healing, or personal empowerment, this podcast is for you. So we need for you to tune in, engage, and transform, because your journey of self-discovery starts now. And we need you to be prepared for this journey. So, as always, we encourage you to get your notebook or your journal and your pen. Today you might need some water. You need to stay hydrated, and we need that flow of good energy to move through you, because you're going to take some stuff in today that we need for you to process. And so if you're not hydrated, your body is in a state of crisis. That means that your executive functions are high, more than your logistical, more than your spiritual. So we need for you to be balanced, because again, this conversation today is really for the intuitive healer and those who are feeling the weight. That's the WEIGHT and the WAIT of what's happening in our world today, our country, our communities. And we need for you to take your power back. And so we need for you to get ready. Let's go. So, our topic today is the intuitive healer, and I like to think of inner sight as in her, like in her, that would be the women, in her sight, right? And so we need for you to tune in and put on this metaphysical and spiritual lens. And today, as always, we try to stop and start this show with some reflections and insights. So I'm going to ask my aunt to pull out her memos, my aunt memos, so that we can get some insight today and some reflection. So what we know about this process is that when we pull our card, we want you to also reflect on what it says and how it speaks to you. So, okay, I'm going first.
Shaky.
There we go. I'm going all the way to the bottom of the bag. All the way to the bottom of the bag. Okay.
You know, if you pick up more than one, that's what you're supposed to have.
Right. So Chantel is getting her card. Ooh. I don't even know if I want to release. I know, right?
You went to the bottom.
Never know what you're gonna find. This feels very close to an ouch, but in a good way. My memo says, you disclose your true character when you describe another's character. Yes. So I am going to make sure that I am careful to describe somebody else's character. That is almost, it reminds me that do unto others as you would have others do unto you, right? So speak about others as you would want them to speak to you. That's kind of how that card comes across to me. Yes. So, and one of the things I understand about this process is, though, when you see something in others, it really is a mirror to what you see in yourself. And this is a space for you to grow, or for us to grow. And I am going to be mindful about that as I go on today. I was just talking about meeting this amazing woman who is running a school, the KIPP school, Knowledge is Power program is the name of it. And she not only was delightful and passionate, but you could tell that why she is doing what she is doing is her purpose work. And so, and she had on green today, so definitely I would say that is a mirror for me. So yes, thank you for that.
You know what I want to add to that too is when you understand and start to become more familiar with astrology and numerology, but astrology, you understand that people are only operating out of the mold that they're created in, and astrology shows you that. Right. We all have our challenges in life, and you don't know what some people are going through. And so we can be quick to judge from the way people look or act on the outside, but you don't really know what's going on the inside. And so, that's, one of the biblical sayings about to not judge.
Lest ye be judged.
Yeah, I mean, we have to give everybody grace. We don't know what they're going through until you sit down and have a conversation. And when you do, you more than likely are going to change your perception of that person that you originally had. So I just want to add that.
Thank you. Chantel, you want to go next?
Yes. Mine was a little bit personal as well. It just says love yourself.
Ooh. All right.
Yep.
She said,
That'll do it. I really feel like that speaks volumes, because I have been just saying more so just taking time for me, taking breaks, taking time. So it's funny that I picked that up out of the bunch. So yeah.
And that goes even deeper too, because when you say love yourself, that goes in all aspects of you. The relationships that we pick. You don't pick healthy relationships if you're not healthy.
Yeah.
You don't love yourself, you're not going to draw somebody to you that loves you. Yeah. The way that we eat, if you loved yourself, there's certain ways that you wouldn't eat, or you would exercise. The type of relationships that we're in, it could be, not a significant other, but other people.
Yeah.
And how you allow yourself, how you treat others, and how you allow people to treat you. So that loving thyself goes a long way.
Yes.
Excuse me. So mine says, be civil to all, sociable to many, familiar with few, friend to one, and enemy to none.
Whoa. Okay, do that again. That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Be civil to all.
Civil to all.
Sociable to many.
Sociable to many, okay.
Familiar with few.
Familiar with few.
Friend to one.
Friend to one.
And enemy to none.
An enemy to none. Wow.
I can think that's powerful, because if you think about it, that's kind of what happens in life, whether we wanted to or not. Just going through school and college and things like that, you have all these friends, then it dwindles down as you guys take different life paths, and then it becomes to where you just kind of have those one or two good solid friends that become family, and then you just start to have a lot of acquaintances or relationships or network partnerships, things of that nature. So I can see that happen, either consciously or subconsciously.
Wow.
It happens.
I would teach my children too. There's a difference between a friend and associate.
Yes. Yes.
So you need to define what friendship really is.
Definitely. And as you get older and you put it into perspective, that's when it dwindles and you get your friend to one or just a good solid two.
Yeah.
So
life takes care of all of this in time.
Yeah. Yes. In time.
Okay. That sounds like good in her sight, right?
Yes.
In her sight, right. All right. So our topic today is called the intuitive healer in her sight. This is the inner work. This is the inner her, right? That we're talking about. And so I just want to talk a little bit about intuitive healers. Intuitive healers often possess a strong connection to their intuition, enabling them to perceive perceive subtle energies and imbalances in others. They are also empathetic, compassionate, and have a deep understanding of human emotions and experiences. They may also be skilled in energy work, communication, and even hold space for healing to begin, expand, and or awaken, and all while developing and or maintaining ethical boundaries and client-centered approach. And so when I think about a client-centered approach, it means the care that you take the person that you have been entrusted to help navigate whatever spaces that you are bringing to their awareness, or tapping into those spaces where and allowing that person to take this journey, and you take this journey with them without the judgment. So that's what I think about when I think about client-centered. And then ethical boundaries, meaning that that you don't use manipulation in this process, that you really speak the truth as it is being revealed to you, because sometimes even changing the truth slightly can change the outcome of the information that you're sharing. And sometimes, especially those who are very aware and don't want to hurt people's feelings. And so, but being an intuitive healer, sometimes if you don't give the information, and I'm sure Ma'at can speak to this, if you don't give the information as it's being given, it may lose the impact, or it may lose the meaning of how it needs to be delivered. And what happens is you become responsible for that. For me, Spirit will give me a swift kick if I don't get that information and deliver it how it's supposed to be given. And sometimes I'll put my disclaimer on it. I'm apologizing ahead of time for how this is going to be said, but this is how it's being given to me, and I have to say it this way. And so when I say it like that, it's like, uh-oh. But it's how the person needs to hear. That's how Spirit works through us. We can't be a filter. We have to give it as it's been given. And when you are really walking this path, you have a little bit of flexibility, but not much, because what the person needs is what you have to share. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I'm being an intuitive healer, though.
It's being obedient. You have to be obedient. That's probably the biggest word that I can think of. Two things. You have to be obedient, and you have to be willing to sacrifice. Move yourself and your ego out of the way. Like you said, if Spirit tells you to tell somebody something, your human mind, your ego will be like, I'm not saying that. Or you feel that they might not receive it, or you might feel embarrassed. Like, I don't know this person. If I just walk up to them and say this, what are they going to think about me? You go through all of that. But when you get told to tell somebody something, you are supposed to say it. It's not about you. And so sacrifice means sacrificing yourself, your human, your ego self, to Spirit. Because I think I told this short. I'm trying to make this short about. I think I told it on the show one time where I stopped at a gas station to get myself some coffee way back when. And there was a man that came in the gas station, and he was talking to everybody, but he wasn't talking to anybody. And he said, should I get an apple or should I get a banana? And I never do this. I always keep to myself. And I said, get a banana. So he said, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So he bought it, went his way, and I got my coffee, and I paid. I was going out the door. And Spirit told me to go over there to that man. I was supposed to tell him something. I said, I'm not going over there. That man doesn't know me. Now, his truck was to my left. I parked to the right. I'm fussing back at Spirit, right? So I thought, while I'm fussing, I'm not going over there. What am I supposed to say? That man doesn't know me. Now, all the while, my feet are walking over there to his truck, and I didn't even realize it.
Wow.
And by the time I realized it, I'm standing in front of his truck. Mm-hmm. So now I'm feeling like stupid. And so, he's in a semi, so he's looking down at me, and his door's open. He's just sitting there, and I'm thinking, okay, now what? This is getting real. So I looked up at him, and I said, excuse me, are you married? I'm like, oh my God. I was just talking to him in the. He might think I'm hitting on him. Yeah. That was like the dumbest thing for me to say. Now, and my humanness is going through all of that, and he's looking at me like, "Okay." He said, "Yeah," looking at me like this crazy lady, and I said, "Is your wife sick?" So I'm thinking in my head, it's like, "Okay, this is getting worse." So he said, "No." I said, "Well, is there a woman around you that's sick, or a mother, sister, or something like that?" He said, "No." And then he sat back and he thought. He said, "You know, my wife did call off today." And then what I remember saying to him was that God said to tell you that your wife is going to be okay. I told him some other stuff that I don't remember, because when Spirit speaks to you, you don't, for the most part, remember what you say. I did tell him something about his colon, because he had a pooch, nice-sized pooch. So I told him about his colon and his health. And then I told him, I said, have a good day. And when I was walking away, it was like a wipe my forehead moment. But when I thought about it later, I said, in order for that to have happened, I think that something was going to happen, that his wife was maybe potentially near death, or they think that she was going to die, or got really serious, and God was letting him know she's going to be okay. No matter what it looks like, she's going to be okay. Now, had I not been obedient and didn't refuse to give him that message, no telling what that would have looked like. So it brought him peace, gave him something to hold on to in maybe his hardest moments. So that's why it's important for us to be obedient, because it's not about you. The message is for the person, and it's for a reason. If anything, be grateful that you were used to give the message.
Absolutely. Wow. And Ma, do you consider yourself an intuitive healer?
Yeah.
And so, when you think about this journey, can you think back to when it became evident or obvious in your journey that, wow, this is another part of my gift that I have been entrusted to carry?
I've always been it. I just didn't have a word. I didn't have, because, back then, we're not going to say how many years ago, but back then, when I realized that I was different and I had, these gifts that other people that I didn't know had, and then I had to learn how to use it, use them as a tool. And some people thinks that their gifts are more of curses because they don't know how to use it. So as I learned how to use it and realized it was a gift, I didn't have anybody else that I could talk to about it that did that until I started meeting my spiritual circle. And then I found other people who had intuitive gifts too, and then we can kind of bounce back off of each other about what that looks like for us. And everybody's is different. Even though you might have the same spiritual gifts, the way that you use them is different, and to varying degrees. Like there are some people who their intuition is very strong, and then they can just look at somebody and know what's going on, or feel them, and they know what's going on intuitively. So everybody's gifts are different. Some people have more than one, but learning how to use it and finding people that you can speak to about the gift that you think that you have and how to use those is extremely, extremely, extremely important.
You know what I thought about as you were talking? Oh, we have somebody commenting. Hey, thank you. Oh, I was just thinking about this, and I'm sure most people, I know a lot of people have had this experience, but may not have thought about the person being an intuitive healer in this sense. You start hearing about the fish dreams. The fish dreams meaning somebody is about to have a baby. My mom is notorious for speaking babies into folks' wombs. She will either have a dream, she'll have the dream about fish, or she will know. And it's really interesting because she'll know if it's twins or if it's just one baby.
Wow.
Right. Oh, you're having twins? look like, what are you talking about? And no twins. So, which is really interesting. And I think it might come from the twins part. My mom had twins, but she lost one. And it was, my brother was a twin. And so my brother ended up having twins. He had twin daughters, yeah. Wow. And so I was like, okay, so that must have been where it went, because nobody else, my siblings didn't have twins. Only my brother, who was a twin, had twins. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. But for those out there who are the predictors of bringing our beautiful children into the world, bless you. And stay away from me. I am beyond the age. And I'm sure some sisters out there like, yeah, we don't want to be around the people who dream about fish. We need you to keep your healing into, the designated space, right? But it's important to acknowledge that as a gift. That intuitive gift, and part of the healing is part of speaking that child into our world. And so it can show up in a lot of different ways. That's just one of them that I think is a common experience that, most people have had in their at least in their circle somewhere. Somewhere that prediction came up about the fish dreams or the babies coming. But here's some other things that are considered core qualities, not limited, but core qualities of intuitive healers. One, of course, is that heightened intuition that my aunt spoke to, a strong connection to their intuition, discernment, and inner guidance system, allowing them to sense energy that's blockages and imbalances too. So I want to talk about this part for a minute. Oh, okay. The call-in number, I see it's up on the screen. It's 810-560-0658. That's 810-560-0658. So if you want to call in, we're talking about the intuitive healer. If there are intuitive healers out there, and either you're coming into your gift, you have been in this space for some time, or you're moving to the advanced level of the gift, please call in. We want to hear your story. So those heightened intuition, right? And what I like to think about these are the healers that can actually feel and sense the blockages or imbalances in even yourself or in other people. Do you know anybody that has this particular gift that can sense where the blocks are? Either energetic blocks, blocks of dis-ease or discomfort.
Physical blocks.
That you can sense it. Sense it. Now, I've seen Goddess do this from time to time, too. Yeah. Goddess. Yep, Goddess. I'm just calling people out. Sorry. But I'm just saying, in our circle. London. Yeah. I've seen Spirit do it, too.
Sage, I think. I haven't seen Spirit.
You haven't?
I'm not shocked.
Oh, no, I mean, she's a midwife, doula, teacher. Yeah, but she's very, very intuitive. Yeah, we have quite a few in our circle of our sisters and some of our brothers too that have it. I know you were talking about Sage. Yeah, Sage definitely. Yeah, he definitely has it. I'm not calling. He's a male. Let me say that. He's a man. Very man. Yeah. Let's see. So others, empathy and compassion. They deeply understand and feel the emotions of others, providing a supportive and nurturing environment. That's another core quality. Active listening. Intuitive healers are skilled at listening, not only to what is being said, but also the unspoken needs, the emotions, and the body language of their clients or whoever they are working with. Now, that's one of mine. That's one of the ways that I hear it too.
Me too. I'm good at that one.
Right. That's one of my strong areas, and the heightened intuition is one of mine too. Yeah, for sure. Especially with the energy blocks and imbalances, I can that the chakras, when the chakras are out of alignment, even for myself, it's kind of that's a different journey. That's when we were working with the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel allowed me to do it for myself, and all the processes and tools that go along with that. But
you could tell by their conversation too. Which one of their chakras are blocked.
Yes. Oh, wild. And the things that are happening around you too can also point and lead to, what's happening. I can do it too around the colors and energy centers. You know, we so on Fridays and when I'm doing my work, I typically wear green because it's one of my power centers, and it's where I do the most work. And so that's where my gift is open the most. That's why you see me in green when I'm working or speaking or on a podcast. But it's part of that, part of the tools that I use. That's why I use the color. And so when I notice and I see it, and Spirit will alert me about something in a particular color, whether that color is something that somebody has on, or it will show up as color around them, like their aura space, where they may be sitting. I mean, there are all kinds of indicators and things that people are drawn to. And I use that too in my work to help people to at least acknowledge that this is one of the areas that is requiring your attention. Yeah. Clear communications, they can effectively convey intuitive insights and guidance in a way that is understandable and empowering. Non-judgmental approach. They can create a safe space for clients to explore their healing journey without fear of judgment. Now, how many people can get people to open up enough where they are comfortable in sharing whatever that experience they're having, so that can get the benefit of having this healer in their presence? So I think that's another important piece, that non-judgment. And so when I think about my tool for judgment is to make sure that I understand that, for me, I use the example of a box. And so if somebody asks me how many sides to a box, I can say 16. And people are like, 16? No, 16 sides to a box is 4, or it's 6, or it's 8. It's whatever somebody else says. My experience, because I have been contemplating this for longer periods of time, I have counted up to 32, but what I am comfortable with is 16. And that perspective is going to be different from somebody else's. And the way that it helps me with judgment is that because somebody may not have put the time and effort into understanding how many sides there are to a box, I did that as a way to program my brain to recognize that somebody might see it as 1, somebody may see it as 4, somebody might see it as 8. And so it's not a judgment on them that they see 2 or 4 or 1, right? It is because of the time or expression or their experience that drives them to that. And so when I think about that, I'll use that same logic and put that in a situation. So because you think that women in heels is a bad thing, dressing heels is a bad thing, right? I would never be caught in, a dress in heels. Okay, I'm okay with that, because your experience tells you, just like your experience tells you that the box has 1 side, it tells me it has 16 sides. So I don't have the same opinion or thought around it being in the same way that you have it, but I respect that that's how you see it. I may have put more time and effort into living this life in heels and a dress than the other person may have, and that's okay. There's not a judgment, it is just your experience. And so I think if we had more insight around how to be non-judgmental, we will have so much more comfort in having conversations and building relationships. That part, I think, is a hindrance to us building around that judgment space. Respect and consideration. They honor their client's autonomy and work collaboratively with them. All right. What do you think about that? Respect and consideration as a gift or a core of intuitive healing. That they honor their autonomy, what they say, how they feel, and work collaboratively. I think that word collaboratively is really an important word in this journey. Thoughts?
That goes hand in hand with judgment. The actual, when it comes to intuitive healing, when you work with people, the most important thing is to not be judgmental. We're all going through things. We've all have been through things, and we all are raised differently, and the way that we handle those situations is differently. We have cultural differences. We have all kind of differences, and so what's acceptable in one family, in one culture, is not acceptable in another. even the areas that you live in. You live in the same city, but the east side handles things different from the west side. So that's a whole different culture as well. So east side people do certain things a certain way. West side people do things a certain way, and then they judge each other because they're from the east or they're from the west. Mm-hmm. So being judgmental of anybody for anything, if you to call yourself a healer, is the worst thing that you can do. You respect people where they are. Like we say, we work on respect and consideration. Consider the fact that they're not you. They don't think the way you do. They weren't raised with you. Even if you have siblings that were raised with you, they still have their journeys. Mm-hmm. You're not around each other 24/7, 365. You didn't have the exact same experiences. And even though you had the same parent or parents, the parents did not treat you the same way that they treated your sibling. Mm-hmm. So that's a whole nother story.
That's true.
But yeah, because there are certain lessons in life that they had to learn. And when you really get down to the bottom of it, they will draw from the parent the lesson that they need to learn. Mm-hmm. It's not that they're treated differently. They are, but it's based upon the lesson that they need to learn. And the parent gives them that lesson. So it looks like, well, you're treating such and such differently from me. They are, but siblings have different lessons. So working along with people where they are, not where you want them to be, not where you think they should be, respecting where they are and not judging them are the most important things that you need to pay attention to as being an intuitive healer.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you, ladies. So as an intuitive healer, have you guys found out that you find your own healing through yourself or other healers?
It's both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, definitely it's both, because part of that is really being open too, because the lessons can come from anywhere. Your teacher can show up and be a swarm of bees. Or as my cousin is experiencing a family of ducks. She has been drawing ducks and rabbits to her for the last, I don't know, at least the last couple of months. And she's like, I'm like, well, yeah, this is some stuff that you need to really give some attention to, because she's in the process of finding her spiritual guides.
Nice.
And they keep showing up in these many ways. So definitely, it's one of them or both of them or all of them that give her lesson. So I just encourage that too. That you don't know how your teacher is going to show up, but if you're ready for the lesson and it starts to resonate with you, it is something for you to be aware of, because the healing can come that way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my daughter right before I came here about ducks, and she was talking about a coworker, and that's really sensitive. I said, well, she needs to be a duck. She said, what? I said, because waters just roll off ducks' back. Mm-hmm. They don't hold on to things. It just rolls right on off. And that's what you do about people and how they think about you. Or negative comments. Let it roll right on off your back.
And take the part that is needed and discard the rest. Mm-hmm. Because it may be coming up because it's showing you something not to hurt you. So take out the judgment of hurt or pain or being mean, and really take out, because I don't think there are coincidences. And so it's worth considering, even though you might have to question the source. It's still worth considering, is this something that I needed to hear or I need to know? I think that's an important part too.
But the fact they said it to you, that you draw that experience to you, shows that there's something you need to get there.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people have the hater stories, and while the intention may have been one thing, but the gift to you was packaged in this way to get your attention sometimes too. Mm-hmm. So we have to be mindful that sometimes the packaging is to get your attention and to get something to you in a way that is going to get your attention. You don't have to agree, but then recognize that there is something in it for you. I like the thought of the box of chocolates, where the Valentine chocolate. If there is a key to that, I don't know if you guys know that up under the chocolates, there is a key to say what chocolate is what. It's a cheat sheet.
Really?
It's a cheat sheet. Yep. It'll tell you what's in that.
Sweets.
I know. Well, I love the chocolate, right?
I just go for the sweets.
But sometimes it's important to know what is really inside before you take a bite of it. Yeah. And so I think that's sometimes how our lessons are packaged. Okay, so here's another one. Self-aware. They are aware of their own energy and emotional state, ensuring that they are grounded and centered during sessions. Yes. That's almost like the same with cooking food when you're angry, right? Mm-hmm. That bitterness that you might be feeling can also be poured into your food. That energy could be also a part of food, making the food bitter. Like you usually make the best pound cake. I don't know what this one was. Like, are you okay? I mean, it's a quick indicator, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but being aware of what you will do and won't do when you're working in your gifts, especially when you're working with other people, because they can also pick up on some of that too. And and where I have a great deal of respect for hairdressers, barbers, and one of the reasons why I do, and nail techs and the people in that career pathway, because I'm saying this and not in the judgment, but there's a lot into that, right? Because you're working on somebody's crown. Mm-hmm. You're working at the highest point of who this person is. And if you come back week after week, you are pouring into that person, whether if they have to want you to, because they wouldn't be coming to you if they didn't want or need you to. But what you pour into them is extremely important. And I think those who are gifted, that's why you call to this profession. It's not by accident, but we have to be mindful when you're in that profession, right? That what you are pouring into people and speaking over them is the good thing that they need. Because, also, it's a lot of things that happen in those environments. It's a lot of different kind of conversations that happen in those environments. And it's a lot of time that people are in that environment, taking all of that information and energy in. Be mindful as the receiver and be mindful as the giver that space is sacred space. Mm-hmm. It really is sacred space. And if you know that, and if you are aware, you also may want to consider who's pouring into you and what are they pouring into you. And so the same thing for people who do nails, your fingernails, these are your feet are, it's so important even that we just take care of our feet. But when you have other people's hands on you, we talk about laying hands, right? Laying on of hands. People have your hands in their hands when they're doing your nails, when they're doing your feet and your toes. Be mindful. Be mindful of who has your hands in their hands, because there's an energy exchange. Mm-hmm. And you remember that your skin is the largest organ that you have. And when it's open and when it's closed, what you're putting on your skin is your skin being clogged, or your pores being clogged. What kinds of things are you putting? And I think that conversation we had with Mary Ibayu when we were talking about the oils. Sometimes the essential oils is what you need on your skin because you need it to absorb really quickly. Mm-hmm. But being careful about what types of oils you are absorbing, because there's a whole dynamic. If you missed that show, please go back to our August. That was August the 1st, right? That first Friday, our first Friday.
Yes, Monday. Yep. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Our first Friday, because that's when we have Mary Ibayu here, and she gives us not just the metaphysical, but the medical exposure around why and how things happen. She talks about the breakdown of the chemicals and how it is affecting your body and how it is affecting your mind and your spirit. So she takes it to a whole another level about how we are engaging this lesson for the journey in terms of what you're taking into your body and how you're taking it in. So I know that was a little bit moving you into a different direction. But I really want people to pay attention when you go into the hairdressers, when you have whatever done, your locks done, you have your hair pressed and curls, you get a perm, like all of these different things, whether you're wearing a wig, all of these things are important. Why have real human hair? Imagine that you have real human hair in whatever way that you style your hair. That's somebody else's, that's a whole nother dynamic, but that's somebody else's energy that you are wearing consistently on your crown, right? On your highest chakra. So be aware. Be aware. And I think that as you build your intuitive awareness, even if you're not necessarily, your gift is intuitive healing, but intuitive awareness can take you in that space so that you can actually hear what people are saying and how it's affecting you and what you're taking in. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you in terms of how we are self-aware. That's really important. And then spiritual practice. Many intuitive healers engage in practices like meditation, mindfulness, and other spiritual exercises to enhance their abilities and maintain their well-being. My aunt, you want to share? How do you do it? How do you keep yourself connected or grounded? What are some of the tools or processes that you use?
Burning sage. That's my balance point. Water, anywhere I can be around, see water. Certain musics I like to play. One of my favorite artists is Peter Cater. And I can play certain music and it just like balances me right straight on out instantly. Burning sage balances me out instantly. Of course, any alone time, spiritual baths, believe it or not, fasting. I don't do that as much as I should, but I'm getting back into that. Fasting is important. A lot of alone time, downtime and alone time is important. And you'll find that intuitive healers and people that are empathic, they can only take so much energy before they have to ground themselves out. Walking around outside barefooted, just being outside in nature, period. If you have a lot of trees around you, if you don't have a lot of trees, go sit near a bush, sit behind a tree, just connect with nature some type of way. Looking at the rain, especially thunderstorms. I love that. Also, to help balance and ground myself is if I know I'm out of whack, I'll take my pendulum and check my chakras, make sure that those are aligned. Because sometimes you could wake up in the morning and there's no reason for it, but you just feel off. And I found out that one or more of my chakras is out of balance, and so I will use the pendulum to balance those back. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, that. I have been encouraging my aunt to do a pendulum workshop. And so stay tuned because we're going to make sure that she gets that done by September.
Okay.
Because there are a lot more of our sisters out there that are using the pendulum, but only know one way to use it. And so my aunt has been using it and teaching it for years. And so we need for her to really put that out there so that our sisters can have more access, but also have more expansive use of the tools that we've been given spiritually too. So that's important. So you guys, when she gives her information, make sure you reach out to her and say, when is this pendulum workshop? Make sure you put that in the social media, in her email. So she's going to give all that to you in just a minute. But I also want to add to that for myself, my grounding, there are two things that I have encountered that really help me with my grounding. My first thing is that I do, if I'm not in my heels, I'm typically in with no shoes on. And so I will go outside and I will be intentional out because my element is mineral. And so I'm looking for the rocks, I'm looking for the crystals, I'm looking for the stones, I'm looking for something that can help be the conduit to that mindfulness for me. I do like to ground with my feet in the grass, especially at night. For some reason, the nighttime, that lunar energy is more powerful for me, and it releases faster for me. Mm-hmm. So the two things that I do, especially if there is you have the opportunity to have the full moon, and in your presence as well, that grounding really, and doing it at night really helps me to be in sync. It helps me to balance out my chakras. It helps me to remember who I am and whose I am. And so putting my toe, like literally putting my feet down in the earth, and when the grass still has dew on it, especially in the evening, all of that makes a difference for me. That's where I take in that water. And also I'll take live herbs. So for me, another area of grounding to make sure that I'm centered. In my household, we use rosemary. So I always keep a fresh rosemary plant, and we eat the leaves. So when anybody is out of whack, their attitude is off, if their body is off, if there's some kind of chemical imbalance, that's one of the things we do. We eat them in threes, and you will, within 30 minutes, you will feel the shift in your body, because that, it takes that long for it to just circulate. And then if you do it before you go to bed, that's another time to ground. And the rosemary, again, that's one of the plants that helps us in my household. And so we'll take that, and we take cloves before we go to bed, and that helps us to get reconnected by the morning. And so those are just some of the ways that I use that are probably not in the mainstream, but they definitely work. And we've been doing this for some time now. So,
did you know rosemary blocks radiation?
It blocks radiation? Yeah. No, now that I did not know.
Yeah, it does.
Wow. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. And also making sure that you detox from the blue light. That is from your cell phone, for anything that's Bluetooth. When you are sleeping, remove those things from the space you're in. At least keep them 12 feet or more away, and make sure your crystals are closer to you than that Bluetooth. That's the television, radio, speaker, cell phone, computers. All of those things should not be in your space when you are resting or sleeping for the night, because you need your body to go through the entire healing process. You're rejuvenating when you sleep, so that we don't have to experience the pain that's happening within our bodies, with your bones stretching, with your skin and cells rebuilding. Make sure that you're allowing yourself a real time to heal, and keep those things away from you. Keep your crystals closer. Keep those things further away, at least 12 feet. If you can get it outside the room. I know some people sleep with their cell phones too. Keep your crystals closer. I'll just put it that way, closer than your phone. If you have to get up and go to your phone, rather that than have it close to you while you're sleeping. You don't give your body a chance to heal from all of that blue light. Okay, so we are coming to this space. I want to make sure I get these few things to you. These are skills and abilities that, as an intuitive healer, that you can develop, and that you can be aware, and also can help you identify other healers. So, of course, the energy work. They may utilize techniques like hands-on healing, or we say laying on hands, right? Visualization, or other energy-based modalities to facilitate healing. Intuitive development. They have cultivated their intuitive abilities through training and practice. Client-centered approach. They work with clients to understand their specific needs and goals for healing, empowering them to take an active role in their own healing journey. Ethical boundaries. They uphold standards of integrity, respect confidentiality, and maintain professional boundaries. Don't get involved with the people you're trying to heal. I'll just say that again. Don't get romantically, intimately involved with the same people you're trying to heal when you're going through this process, because it doesn't always allow your sight to be clear. And unless that is your healing modality. Let me put it that way. If that is your healing modality, and you understand the boundaries, and you're using your love energy to heal, that's a little bit different. Let me just say that. Adaptability. They may use tools like crystals, pendulums, oracle cards to enhance their readings and healing sessions, and a willingness to learn. They recognize that healing is a collaborative process, and are open to learning from their clients as well. All righty. So, any final thoughts around being an intuitive healer and what people might need to know that we didn't have a chance to elaborate on?
A couple of things. One that came up is our children. And these young people are coming in here extremely intuitive, extremely empathic. And a lot of parents don't realize that you have a child like that. If you are the parent and you have certain healing gifts, again, as I said earlier, find your circle of people that you can relate to, because that's a whole different dynamic that you're trying to learn about, as well as you trying to navigate life. So you're trying to navigate your spiritual aspect of yourself, and you're trying to navigate the human aspect of yourself. And it can be a struggle learning how to balance the two, because you do have to learn how to balance the two.
You do.
Our children can be healers as well. So when you learn how to identify what that looks like and really identify that you have a child that is a healer. There are some men that are healers, and especially if one indicator is if you're a hands-on healer, that your hands are hot. Or other people, you might touch someone and be like, oh, your hands are warm or your hands are hot. That is an indication of being a natural healer, a hands-on healer. So you might want to go into something like Reiki or different other types of modalities. And a lot of times it's a little bit more challenging for men than women, because a man doesn't want another man to touch him. Or when a man touches a woman, you have that whole dynamic of the whole touching thing. So it could be a little bit more challenging for a man to be a hands-on healer than it is for a woman. But find your circle. You can contact either one of us, and then we can assist you with some of the challenges that you have, the questions that you have, learning how to balance that, learning how to identify what your gift is, because that's another thing. Having a word to put on it is something that could be a little bit challenging. Like I said, when I realized that I had these gifts, I didn't have a word to put on it. So I wouldn't even know what direction to go and search in. So I would definitely reach out to someone who has some level of a knowledge base to assist you in that. And it really is a beautiful journey and a beautiful experience that you will learn to love and appreciate over time. So I think I just wanted to share that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely. Especially recognizing it in your children, because we are often so responsive that we miss the opportunity to learn and listen. And I appreciate you sharing that too. I just want to leave this thought with you that in my experience right now, I recognize 25, I call them superpowers. So 25 of our superpowers that are online. One of the things I want you to recognize before you leave this conversation today is that the time that we're in is also like a tube of toothpaste, that we are all being squeezed. Even if you have experienced drama, it's for a reason, because you had to have something so traumatic shake you and help this gift be released in you. So we only look at the traumatic part of it in that healing process of going through the forgiveness journey. But the other part of it is that it was designed to raise something in you, to push it to the surface, for it to come up and to come out. And part of how it's coming out, it's like I was sharing, there are way more gifts than 25. I have identified and seen for myself 25 different types of superpower come out of people who have experienced trauma. So people who can move things with their minds, people who can levitate, people who can, these are things that I've seen with my own eyes. So all of these different types of gifts. So Don't just look at your trauma as this traumatic event, but also understand it was designed to bring something out in you. This time that we're in, where you are feeling the hopelessness because you're looking at what's happening around the world, it is another way for us to bring that collective energy together, because we change things. What you're feeling is love and compassion, and love and compassion is so much stronger than fear. And when you align that love and compassion, bringing your gifts to the table, stepping in where you know it is your purpose, we are at, it almost looks like we're at a deficit, because not enough of us are coming forward with your gifts and your purpose work at the time that it is needed. Although it's going to come when it's your time, what I'm letting you know that this is your time. This is your time. So as your purpose is brewing in you and you're feeling compelled to do this and to do that, do it. Don't let what you see happening around you make you feel like you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. This is what we are waiting for. We are waiting and need for you to step into your purpose, because that space leaves a gap. And until you step in and fill that gap, we are going to have this experience until enough of us step in and fill the gap that we were divinely placed to do. That's what this time is about. This time is not to make you afraid. This time is to make you activate, to get you activated, that you have enough compassion, you've seen enough, and you don't want to see this again, that it activates you. It activates you in your superpowers. It activates you in your gift. It activates you in your healing. So once you move those things out of the way, you emerge. The true you emerges. And so we want your inner her to emerge. We need her to be in her space so that we can help him and we can help them, right? But it will change when you decide that it's enough. When you decide that your heart is filled with what it needs to be filled with to do what you need to do now. We love you. We appreciate you. I'm going to ask my aunt to share her contact information. How do they reach you?
All right. You can email me at Relationship First Aid at Yahoo. Website, Relationship First Aid. Facebook, Relationship First Aid.
Chantel, I'm going to ask you before we close if you will run one of my commercials on there.
Yes.
And my name is Dr. Hetheru. You can reach me at Your Inspired with the D, Your Inspired Journey. And you can also call me direct. I know people don't believe this, but I actually will answer, or I will get back with you. Call me at 313-759-7855. Again, that's 313-759-7855. Reach out to me directly. Please don't DM me on social media. Talk to me, right? I am here. So let's get this journey started. You can follow up with us on social media. You will see our Lessons for the Journey videos on my Dr. Hetheru Personal Change Coach YouTube channel. You can find us there too. But we want you to get connected and stay connected, because you are too important to sit on the sidelines. There's no room there for you. So I'm going to ask Chantel to run our commercial. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, stay clear. Till next time.
Thank you.